Good morning. Welcome to Abundant Life Homestead, where Monday through Thursdays I've been sharing a little bit of my morning quiet time with you, a lot of which is composed of a purposefully unscripted, unplanned Bible study. I like to hit the Word first thing in the morning with a fresh perspective, see how I understand it right here and now, and then build on that, studying it, meditate on it more throughout the day, and have a deeper understanding by the end of the night. And I really hope that you can do the same. Might be a little rough this morning. Had a rough night last night. Melinda said the house was too hot, and that might have been. We ran the kerosene because it was supposed to get down in the low single digits, and it did, but the house stayed awfully warm. But mine started before that, about 8 o'clock last night. I had a terrible headache, and by the time I went to bed, it was still with me. So I tossed and turned a lot last night. So this morning's chat and study might be a little rough, and I told Melinda before she left for work, if she has time, make sure she gets on, because I might need some help today. But this morning, if we want to jump right into the Bible study, I can usually read what's right there on the paper before I put my glasses on, but that ain't going to happen this morning. This morning, on Thursdays, we get into a wisdom passage, and today's wisdom passage is Psalm 37, verses 1 through 11, and 39 through 40. I'm going to send her a message really quickly just to remind her I'm live. She told me before she left to remind her. So, Psalm 37. Let me get opened up here. Psalm 37, verses 1 through 11 and 39 through 40. And good morning, Melinda. Glad to see you here. Like I just said, I may need some help. Good morning, my love. All right. This has a title on it, Security of Those Who Trust in the Lord and Insecurity of the Wicked. It's the Amplified Version. A Psalm of David. Do not worry because of evildoers, nor be envious towards wrongdoers, for they will wither quickly like the grass and fade like the green herb. Trust, rely, and have confidence in the Lord, and do good. Dwell in the land and feed securely on his faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires and petitions of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him also, and he will do it. He will make your righteousness, your pursuit of right standing with God, like the light, and your judgment like the shining of the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord. Wait patiently for him, and entrust yourself to him. Do not fret, whine, or agonize because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man who carries out wicked schemes. Cease from anger and abandon wrath. Do not fret, it leads only to evil. For those who do evil will be cut off, but those who wait for the Lord, they will inherit the land. For yet a little while, and the wicked will be gone forever. Though you look carefully where he used to be, he will not be found. But the humble will at last inherit the land, and will delight themselves in abundant prosperity and peace. Down to 39. But the salvation of the righteous is from the Lord. He is their refuge and stronghold in the time of trouble. The Lord helps them and rescues them. He rescues them from the wicked and saves them, because they take refuge in him. All right. So right off the bat, where are we at here? Do not worry because of evildoers, or be envious towards wrongdoers. This is one of those things we so easily get into, because it's very much human nature to be jealous of those who are prospering, even when we know that their gains are ill-gotten, or not in line with God. And it like I said, it's one of those. It's part of the human condition. It's something that we have such a hard time getting over, but it is something that David here reminds us: don't worry because of them, or be envious towards what they have, because they're going to wither quickly. They've got a short season. Melinda says, do not worry. Over and over again, the Bible tells us this. Yes, the two big things I like to see when we read is do not worry and do not fear. Those two sentences are repeated over and over and over for a very good reason. It's all, like I say, when God comes to you, he says, I got you. You don't need to worry. You don't need to fear. So they will wither quickly like the grass and fade like the green herb. Those of us, especially here in the United States, we see the grass as being green, maybe from March to November into December, 9 months out of the year, most of the time the grass is green. But in the other areas of the world, like where David was, when there's a rain and suddenly the grass is green and growing and prospering, and at least from his perspective, and other times the grass is mentioned in the Bible, sometimes the grass would only last for a few days. So it was very easy to make an analogy for it, that this is going to be very short-lived. We see it as lasting a lot longer, and sometimes it does. But for them, grass was something that was just there for a little bit. So don't worry about what these evildoers and wrongdoers are doing, because they've got a short season, and we don't. Trust, rely, and have confidence in the Lord, and do good. Dwell in the land and feed securely on his faithfulness. We look here, the next few verses. The 3 starts with trust in the Lord. 4, delight yourself in the Lord. 5, commit your way to the Lord. As I was getting ready for this morning, and really trying to focus on my morning prayer time, and just struggling through the morning, I grabbed my Bible, which my main Bible is actually it's the one that Grandpa preached out of for about his last 20 years of his 60-year preaching career. And I do this often when I need a little direction. I'll open up this Bible and see if Grandpa had anything to say about these verses. His side notes in his Bible is probably one of the most precious things that he ever left me. But I opened up Psalm 37 to see if Grandpa had anything to say about it. And out of the whole psalm, the one thing that he did, he underlined verse 4: delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires and petitions of your heart. And that's one of those that we have to be careful of if we just pick and choose single verses out of the Bible. There's several times where the Bible says you ask and God will give you what you want. But we also, if we just stand on those single verses, we can start to get into this, what they call it, name it and claim it movement, where, you know, you want a Ferrari, God's going to make sure you get a Ferrari. You want to live in an $8 million mansion, God's going to make sure you get an $8 million mansion. That's not what he's saying at all, especially when he mentions the heart. And we've studied a lot the last couple of weeks that the heart, even the heart of good men, is deceitful. You know, it's one of those things, and I remember Grandpa talking about this in the past. You know, the closer you get with God, the more you trust God, the more your desires are going to be in line with Him, and the more of that He's going to give you. But even when you're just starting in your walk with God, you know, if your desires are going to be deceitful, whether you know it or not, but God will see that. And even though there's evil and deceit, he can see what's good out of what you're really wanting, and you may still get the good parts. But you know, we get away from the single verse we stand on, and with that one, that's not what Grandpa did, standing on the single verse. That's the only thing he underlined. But what he did, he went through and highlighted: trust in the Lord, delight yourself in the Lord, commit your way to the Lord, and then drew little arrows from the underlines to all those highlights. You know, the more you trust in the Lord, the more you delight yourself in the Lord, the more you trust, the more you commit your ways to Him, the more of that desire of yours is going to be in line with Him, and the more of that desire of yours God is going to give you. Let's see. He will give you the desires and petitions of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in Him also, and He will do it. That one kind of stands out a little interesting with the way that David wrote also in there. Hang on, let's see what Melinda says. When you focus on God, the desires of your heart change from worldly desires to those that align with God. Amen, they do. Trust in Him also, and He will do it. David purposefully put the word also in that sentence, and the reason for that, we still, you know, make note of the fact that there are still things that we can desire and take pleasure in that are not really in or out of being in line with God. You know, like for me, it's the different coffees that I drink. I really enjoy these coffees, and I talk a lot about the coffees that Melinda brought back from other countries and things. And you know, it's not really godly to enjoy drinking these different coffees in the morning, but it's not really wicked and ungodly to take pleasure in these coffees. And so the trust Him also. So if you're trusting God, you know, some of these things that really don't matter to your spiritual life, He'll still make sure you get those things too. There's nothing wrong with these other desires and pleasures that we have that aren't. Oh, help me out here. There's nothing wrong with these desires and pleasures that we have that aren't really godly or wicked or selfish, or you know, they're just kind of there, and they're not going to affect our salvation one way or another if we get them or not. A lot of time, you know, those are the things that it's fine to delight in, and if we trust in God also, He can make sure we get those too. Did that make sense, Melinda? Said I'm kind of struggling. He will make your righteousness, your pursuit of right standing with God, like the light, and your judgment like the shining of the noonday sun. So you trust in, you delight in, you commit in the Lord. Your righteousness shining like the light in the noonday sun. The kind of the way. Oh, Melinda says, "Sorry, I was counting." That's all right. You've got work to do. When I see it like that, he will make it shine like the noonday sun. There's very little can hide from the noonday sun. Your righteousness will be seen, even among all these, the evil and the the wicked and the wrongdoers that he's talking about here. As long as you walk with God, you may not appear to be the strongest. You may not appear to be the wealthiest. You may not appear to be the one in the best position to the world, their view of you. But at some point, after this short season of the evil and the wrongdoers, your righteousness will shine like the noonday sun. It can't be ignored. It won't not be seen. Just because you think that you're out of the loop and oppressed and smothered by all the evil and wrong around you, your righteousness will become like the noonday sun. It will not be hidden. Be still before the Lord. Wait patiently for him, and entrust yourself to him. Do not fret, whine, or agonize because of him who prospers in his way, or because of the man who carries out wicked schemes. So here at verse 7, he's kind of repeating what he said in verse 1. He's just reiterating the fact that we, instead of what we have up here, don't worry or be envious. Those are kind of inward things, worry and envy. And now he's saying, don't fret, don't whine, don't agonize. So he goes from our inward reaction to the wicked and the wrongdoers to now it's our outward reaction. So he doesn't want us to have that inward reaction, but definitely doesn't want us to have that outward reaction. Fret and whine and agonize and argue and even go Bible thumping on those who do evil. Yeah, they need to hear the word, but not necessarily in that context. It says, "Be still before the Lord. Wait patiently for him and entrust yourself to him." A lot of times, wait, when you look into deep studies, a lot of times wait includes silence. It's there's several ways to say wait patiently in the ancient Hebrew, and a lot of times, many times, and I assume here too, I haven't looked into it, it's more of a silent waiting. So it's understood in that, be still, be silent, and trust yourself to him. And then he reiterates that from the other side, don't fret, don't whine, don't agonize, don't be loud and vocal about it. Do be silent, don't be vocal. He's reiterating the same thing there in the way I understand it. Cease from anger and abandon wrath. Do not fret, it leads only to evil. And that's where all of this comes together, Right off the bat, I mentioned jealousy and envy and and even all of the inward, the worry, the envy, the jealousy, and the outward, the fret, the whine, the agonize, the arguing, it that just leads to us doing evil. And as much as we think we're in the right, once again, the heart, even the heart of good men is deceitful, as much as we think we are in the right by being how would we put this? Being a Christian Karen and going up and getting really in their face about how evil they are and how wrong they are, and screaming at them that their time is coming, and throwing the Bible at them over and over again. It really leads to us doing evil. It leads to a hardening of our own heart. And I assume Melinda's working at the moment. I really figured she'd jump in on that one. Okay, for those who do evil will be cut off, but those who wait for the Lord, they will inherit the land. For yet a little while, and the wicked one will be gone forever. Though you look carefully where he used to be, he will not be found. Yeah, that's something that we can see even with those short seasons and those long seasons. Melinda says, when in doubt, love. That wasn't in this, but that's kind of where I was trying to head, and asking for Melinda for help. What the best and most important thing and only thing we should do, instead of the both these wicked inward and outward feelings and actions, is just to love them, show them God's love, and it'll work it out through them, not just your enemies. I mentioned earlier this week that one of the best way to destroy your enemy is to make them not your enemy, and you do that through God's love and through loving them the way God would love them. And even if they're not your enemy, if they're on an evil path, prosperous or not, you'll just love them. Just show them God's love, and it'll start turning their heart. Let's see. For yet a little while, and the wicked will be gone forever. Though you look carefully where he used to be, he will not be found. That's one of those things that we can see even nowadays. It's not just talking about the eternal. I mean, how many times does someone rise up quickly and then pop like a bubble and disappear? And their fame and fortune came from not from God, and they had this very short season. You see it, and then they're just gone. They drop out of society. You never hear about them again. They get forgotten very quickly. And I guess I can even myself in that, when we talk about the God giving us the desires and petitions of our heart, and trying to be careful not to get into the name it and claim it, that God wants us to be extremely wealthy and prosperous. I was never extremely wealthy and prosperous, but there was a time where internally I was in a dark place. I had not really. Let's see what Melinda says while I'm trying to think of this. I think of when God removes us from relationships that we shouldn't be in, the evil ones just seemingly drop out of our lives. Yeah, and that's talking about, there's this scale of this is how it's going to be in eternity, but you also have this scale of personally and right now. Yeah, when he removes you from those relationships, or when you turn to him, you trust him, you commit to him, the people just in your circle that are the evil and the wrongdoers, and they start dropping off, and you look for them where they once were, and they're gone. They're not there in your lives anymore. So yes, this very much applies to many scales. But I was never incredibly wealthy or prosperous, but I also was not as close to God as I should have been in this time of my life. And I made pretty decent money, six figures, and never really happy. And like I said, I had turned away from God at that point, and that person, that wicked side of me, was, the season was up, and I lost it all. And won't get into the details there, but I tell you what, it that kind of helps teach you to not be envious of life like that, because where I am here and now, I've never been happier. I don't have a lot of the prosperity that I used to have, and I've never been happier. And I wouldn't change a thing. My wonderful wife, Pastor Melinda Porter, is talking in the chat. I wouldn't. This is my the desire of my heart, that God gives me, this happiness, this peace. Our children, we have a little humble life that's not extremely prosperous, but we have very little to whine and agonize over either. That old me, that old life, you go look where that me used to be, and it's gone. You won't be able to find it. But the humble will at last inherit the land, and will delight themselves in abundant prosperity and peace. And then down to 39, kind of actually picks up at 11, after 11. Linda, we are rich in the things that matter. Yes, we are. Amen. But the salvation of the righteous is from the Lord. He is their refuge and stronghold in the time of trouble. The Lord helps them and rescues them. He rescues them from the wicked and saves them, because they take refuge in him. I think that's pretty much straightforward, as long as we stave off this inner feelings that we talk about in the beginning, the outward actions that we talk about later. We're never going to completely empty our lives of that. There will always be little bits of it, and the more we trust God, the more we commit to God, the closer we get to being completely gone of that. But and until the day of Jesus Christ, we will never completely get rid of that. But our salvation is in the Lord. He is our refuge and stronghold, and he rescues us from all of this, from the wicked, from the envy, from the fretting, from the agonizing and the arguing. He rescues us from this. He saves us from that, because we take refuge in him. Linda says, God gives us the strength to get through the times of trouble. Yes, he does. And not necessarily the times of trouble, or what we would, not necessarily just the times of trouble, but times that we think we can get through on our own, and we realize it's just our heart lying to us that we can get through it on our own. He gives us that strength. And that's very much what my prayer time was this morning, was for strength. Because, like I said, I went to bed rough, I woke up rough. Going to be a little pressed for time today because Grandma and I both have appointments. I'm getting therapy on my foot again. That thing, I don't know what to do with it. It's to the point where I can walk about 100 feet before it really starts throbbing, and even just sitting here this morning, it's throbbing. So I've spent a lot of time praying for that strength that Melinda's talking about here, strength to get through these times of trouble. And like all things, this too shall pass. So, the rest of the day, like I said, me and Grandma both have appointments this morning. You might notice I've been putting up a YouTube short of me reading today's scripture. Been trying to do that each day. I'm also putting it in a different format so it doesn't show up in shorts, but I haven't started uploading those yet. Oh, here's Melinda. She's got a reference for us. Nehemiah shows us that we don't need to do everything on our own. Just because we can do something on our own doesn't mean that we should. And we are often too bullheaded to realize that. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I think there's a whole lot of stubborn people in the world. But I'm not going to get around to recording for the short until sometime today, because our appointment is at the time when I usually do that, about the time that she's eating breakfast. But that's okay, I'll get to it later today. Also for future and weekend plans, don't have any videos worked up. I've got a whole lot of footage for different things, like changing the transmission oil on my 1946 Farmall, and working on the brake valve for my old truck, and I've got another video with the battery operated chainsaw that I haven't got out. I haven't put the video out yet. So I've got a lot of things I can work up and get something out this weekend, but I think we've got enough snow and it's warm enough, and I've got a new camera to try out. I think it'll get warm enough. We may be able to get the boys out on the snow tube this afternoon. We'll see how that goes. Look forward to something coming this weekend that has more to do with the homestead and less to do with my quiet time. Otherwise, we're just about to the 9 o'clock hour. I gotta go get Grandma up. I'm hoping hopefully she's in good shape this morning. Yesterday she slept really late and she was really confused a lot yesterday. So that comes and goes with the dementia. Some days she knows exactly where she is, what she's doing, what day it is, but other days a puzzle on the table has shut her internet off, and that's exactly one of the things we went through yesterday. But so hope and pray she's in better shape today, because we've got to go to town, and I think we're gonna head off and get that started. So, appreciate y'all watching this morning. Until next time, keep on nourishing your dreams, cultivating your passions, embracing the beauty of God's creation. Hope you have a wonderful and blessed day, and we'll see you then.